The difference between flipping a note and flipping a house. Find out on this episode of Impact and Income. Welcome back to Impact and Income. Today we want to talk about, hey, what's the difference between flipping a note and flipping a house? You know, a lot of times we find that when we talk to people about what we're doing, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about flipping a note. And we want to sort of draw some parallels and really break it down to where you understand that both disciplines are very similar. Both are backed by real estate. There's just a few different nuances you need to learn.
Yeah, and a little bit about our background. We've been investing in real estate for 16 plus years.
Yeah.
Low income housing, you know, we've walked into homes where we're falling through the floor. So the pivot for us into investing in mortgage notes was not that big of a change for us. So it was kind of a really nice lower barrier of entry to get into it. And when people ask me, it's as simple as this. Look, you know, you can buy a home, you fix it, and then you sell it. You fix it and you add value when you fix it. So with mortgage notes, it's basically the same thing, but you're buying, okay, a broken mortgage, meaning that there's documents that need to be recreated, there's borrowers that need to be reached out to. It has to be cleaned up. Remember, we're cleaning up from the crisis. A lot of the mortgages that have been written are broken. Majority of our stuff is you're putting on your attorney hat, right? And you're having to clean up that. So what we're basically doing is buying a broken mortgage, fixing it, and then reselling it.
Right, so just a short, for instance, on something that one ways you would maybe fix a mortgage is we're in the process, we just purchased a loan and we already had it resold, we're about to sell it, and the person we're selling it to ran it through a severe title audit, and they came up with, hey, the property ID number, what's called the PIN number, was missing the last two. They dropped the 01 on not only every assignment of mortgage that had taken place, but on the original mortgage. So we had to go back, and it was about a 30 to 45 day process, but we had to reach out to everybody who was in chain of title on that mortgage and go back and get affidavits signed. And it's just part of it. It's not difficult. It's, you know, not labor intensive. It's just sending emails, making phone calls. But one thing to understand is if there is a problem with the mortgage, you can usually fix it. Just like if there's a problem with the house, if there's a bad roof, is a bad roof not a good thing? Yeah, it's not great, but can it be fixed? Absolutely, and the same thing goes with mortgages. Rarely do we come across something, well, to this day, knock on wood, yet we haven't come across something that couldn't been repaired or fixed.
The only problem is like we said earlier, was entrepreneurial. This is entrepreneurial. Do you think what we went through, that 45 minutes of conversations, if you weren't vested as much as you're vested into this, would you have done that? If you were just an asset manager running somebody else's portfolio, you had 1,000 notes. That's my point, is that it's not being done. So what happened with this note, for instance, was probably traded once they hit a hang up or once they hit a hurdle. They don't want to jump that hurdle. It's an issue and they trade it off. They keep forgetting. Who's on the other end of that when they keep trading it?
Borrower,
somebody's life. And so you can't just keep trading it. You can't just look at this as a financial tool, right? You have to look at it as this is a person's home, a person's livelihood. And the 45 minutes that Rick spent calling and trying to track down this correct number so we could properly move this through the system, that's what needs to be done.
So one of the parallels that we like to draw is when you buy a distressed house, you're going in, you're fixing up the house, you feel good about yourself because you're raising the value of not only that house, but the other houses around it. Fixing a note does the same thing. If you have a property where the borrowers are distressed or the taxes aren't being paid, when you can get in there and you can fix that loan, you're positively impacting the community that asset is in. And that's one of the things that it's important to understand, that you're making an impact investment when you're buying one of these assets. Yes, you're not banging hammers, but you are fixing the asset to where it is becoming a positive influence in the community.
The systemic effects that go on are huge, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too much, but how communities are affected by people that don't fix those loans. Now that home is sitting there as a distressed, vacant, abandoned property. Let's say that borrower leaves. What does that do? That lowers the value average of about 45%. A distressed home is lowered in value in a community around 45% to the rest of the community. So there's systemic effects that are happening. Property taxes aren't getting paid. So it's very important that people like ourselves and other people out there take these, be very entrepreneurial and creative, recycle these mortgages again into an asset that is providing back to the community, that is providing back to the family. Now, here's the deal, and this kind of is a perfect segue, right? We know real estate backwards and forwards, how to buy an investment property backwards and forwards. Now we know mortgage notes. However, when we're buying a lot of assets, a lot of the times we take in abandoned homes. You know what that presents? Huge opportunity. There are huge opportunities to provide group homes for people, okay? There's huge opportunities to provide affordable rental. There's huge opportunities to provide financing for people that cannot get financing out there on the level, okay? Right. So when you're looking at what we're actually doing and how you're flipping a note, flipping a house, it all comes down to we're helping these people out. We're very well versed in both disciplines of being able to navigate and provide back this abandoned home back to the community in any which way possible, and getting that borrower performing again, feeling better about himself.
Right.
What we found is that majority of these borrowers, they want to do the right thing. Headlines tell you these are deadbeats. They're just using the system, right? They don't want to. They just don't want to pay. They want a free ride. I haven't talked to anybody that feels good the next morning when they're saying, I have people coming after for money. So how are these people feeling good about not paying their mortgage? Do you think that family of four people like that idea of possibly my mortgage is going to be, or my house is going to be foreclosed upon? No, so we don't want to, model stuff around those outliers, those people that are the deadbeats. And there's people that are going to use the system, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the overall impact of stuff.
Right. If you're an investor, the bottom line is if you want to make an impact, you're interested in, I think I could get into flipping notes, go ahead, jump over to mwmfund.com, check us out, learn about investing in notes and how we can have a conversation. Maybe we can make an impact and an income together.